What's good, everybody? It's your boy Isaiah from the Borough Council.
Christopher Allen.
And Carlos Hernandez.
And today,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I was going through the footage earlier and I noticed that there wasn't really a good explanation as to what we were doing in today's video. Well, I tasked the guys to pick 4 players that they thought were the most interesting to them, and we were going to discuss it with them alternating back and forth between offensive players and defensive players. Now, with that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Here's a good question that I just thought of right now. How do you guys want to decide who goes first?
so we each have four players. So
Yes.
Chris has 4, I have 4, and if we have time, we could add our additionals. But I'll be a gentleman and let Chris go first.
Aw, that's no fun though.
We
I
could do
had
it.
a fun idea.
We could
I
do
was
it
Okay,
either
what do
way.
you
So
want?
what's your
What do you
idea?
want? What's your idea? Come
I
on,
was
tell
gonna
us.
make you guys flip a coin.
Okay, let's
How?
flip a coin then.
Okay.
Oh, he
Heads
got
or
a
You
tails?
program.
Heads or
Call
tails?
heads.
okay?
I
I'll
call
leave
Okay.
that
heads.
on tails.
Alright. Chris goes first.
So my first player, which I think is an important signing to recognize in this free agency, is Mr. Kenneth Walker III, who is going from the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks to the former Super Bowl champions of 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs.
So the rich
Hmm.
get richer, basically. How do you
Yes,
feel?
the MFers from KC just get stronger.
You mean the Taylor Swifties?
Yes, the Swifties get swiftier.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but how do you think this would impact their offense?
Oh, I think it increases their offense a whole lot. Kenneth Walker has quick feet, and I think he can do a lot for Kansas City. Obviously, with Seattle, he was their number one, but he also had to share some of the spotlight with a guy named Zach Charbonnet. But in Kansas City, they have now, uh, no longer have their number one running back, Mithai Pacheco, who went to the Detroit Lions to team up with Jameer Gibbs.
Wait,
So
so they
this leaves the door wide open for Kenneth Walker to have all the running chances to himself in Kansas City.
What were you gonna ask, Kuja?
so they didn't. They basically didn't lose anything. If anything, they got younger, and they still have like a Sonic and
Well,
Knuckles.
who the Detroit Lions?
Yeah.
Well, they did. But going back to my original topic and the person that I'm mainly talking about, Mr. Kenneth Walker, he's going to be a huge asset for Kansas City now that Isaiah Pacheco is gone to Detroit. And now, since the Kansas City Chiefs already had dynasty mindset, and then they add on a current Super Bowl champion, mixing a former Super Bowl dynasty with a current Super Bowl champion, it's like they're trying to add Super Bowl to Super Bowl to get another Super Bowl with basically the foundation that this move was built on that they're trying to get to. Because obviously they're trying to get back to the Super Bowl where they once were a year ago, where they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, sir. Kuja,
And the stats for Kenneth Walker, just to show you how good he is from last season, what kind of player they're getting of him, is that he has, in 2025, he had 1,027 rushing yards, 221 carries, 5 touchdowns, and 282 receiving yards.
Alright, Kuja, now that Chris is done with his first person, do you want to talk about yours?
Sure. My first person, somebody that I never thought that would leave Tampa Bay, but after he had a year where he was injured, but also he was very productive. My guy that actually went to the San Francisco 49ers, taking a change of scenery, is Mike Evans. He's a really productive wide receiver for what, 3 years, 42 million. So Brock Purdy is getting a wide receiver that he could rely on, and he's very productive. Like I said, every year he's been in the league, averages 1,000 yards receiving. So, yeah, the 49ers fan base should definitely be proud of getting Mike Evans, somebody that Brock Purdy could rely on this year, and they could actually make some noise if they
That's
build
for sure.
the right way.
I did kind of find it weird that he actually signed a 3-year contract, if I'm being honest. Because
Yeah,
for the
me too.
last 2 years, he was contemplating
To
if he was going
retire.
to retire. So I thought if he was going to go anywhere, including re-signing with Tampa Bay, that he would only sign a 1-year contract because he wouldn't be sure if 2026 was going to be his final season in the NFL. And then out of nowhere, out of left field, he ended up signing a 3-year deal instead.
Maybe they offered him an amount of money he couldn't really refuse.
Or
Yeah,
maybe he just believes he got more juice in the tank. In the tank.
exactly. Exactly. But I do want to make one thing clear to our viewers, just as a hypothetical talk,
Hmm.
just as a hypothetical.
Hmm.
So say if Mike Evans does play 26 and he does well, and he figures, okay, maybe this will be my last year. Just because he
Hmm.
signed a 3-year contract, that doesn't mean he has to play all 3 years. He could retire at any given point. But once he retires, the 49ers don't owe him anything. All of that money is gone. He doesn't get any more from them, and they don't lose anything. That money goes back to the organization. It's not dead. It's not like he moved on and they owe him, because that's what dead money is, where you're still paying a guy that's no longer on your roster. They
Hmm.
just don't owe him anything because he's retired and no longer in the league.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
true.
And with that being said, Chris, would you like to move on to your second player?
Yes. Okay, so staying on my theme, so my next player is Rashid Shaheed. Now, Rashid Shaheed was a very important piece, I feel, as a wide receiver to that Seattle Seahawks team that just won the Super Bowl. He was the number 2 wide receiver behind Jackson Smith-Njigba, and he had some very impressive and important touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks in the actual Super Bowl and throughout the season itself. Um, Rashid Shaheed is staying with the Seattle Seahawks on a contract extension. He's not going anywhere. So that is a big investment for the Seattle Seahawks, keeping somebody that was already important and not letting them go. That, especially since they already lost Kenneth Walker, Rashid Shaheed is somebody they definitely had to lock up.
Definitely.
So in terms of stats for
No, I said definitely. I was agreeing with you.
in terms of stats for Rashid Shaheed for last season of 2025, he had 59 receptions, 687 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 11.6 average yards per catch, 92 targets, and 69 rushing yards. That is very good
A
for the Seattle Seahawks wide receiver who is about to come back for his second year with the team. But however, with Mr. Kenneth Walker gone, I now see the Seattle Seahawks giving Rashid Shaheed the ball more, giving him more chances to score touchdowns. So I believe that touchdown number will go up. Because yet they got Zach Charbonnet, yet they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, yet they also got Cooper Cup. But now that one of their primary touchdown scorers, mainly rushing touchdowns, is gone, that opens the door up for somebody else, whether he's a wide receiver or running back, to score a touchdown. So it'll create more of an opportunity for other people to score touchdowns and do more work for the team.
Agreed. Cujo, do you have any thoughts that you would like to add about Rashid or
Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed?
Pardon me. As I said before, Rashid Shaheed was a good piece that they needed to lock down for sure. He made some incredible plays in the season, and also it was a good investment. And
Eh,
maybe they could even pivot to like you know a Notre Dame running back that I think they would love if he's available at their pick.
I
Mm.
mean, if you're talking about Jeremiah Love, I don't think Jeremiah Love is going to fall that far down to Seattle.
Yeah, I know. It was wishful thinking for
But
Seattle
like,
Seahawks fans.
yeah, but like you said about them investing in him, I mean, they did get him at the trade deadline in 2025
From this the
from
Saints.
New Orleans.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
what exactly was that trade, if you remember correctly, if you
If I re-
remember?
if I damn, I don't even think remember, but Rashid Shaheed was an investment piece mainly for the punt return, honestly. He wasn't
Exactly,
out wide.
exactly. So maybe he won't be punt returning anymore. Maybe his role will be changed in 2026. But didn't they traded for him at the 2025 trade deadline? Obviously, it seems like a good trade so far, and it's going to seem like a good trade going forward. Because basically, all they gave up were picks, and obviously, it seems like a good trade all in all. The Seattle Seahawks get Rashid Shaheed, somebody who they're going to keep now long term and just lock down, and the New Orleans Saints get a draft pick or two to help rebuild that franchise, which they definitely need because that team sucks as is right now. No offense to New Orleans Saints fans,
Damn.
Very well
but
said, gentlemen.
at least the New Orleans Saints
Gr-
got Travis Etienne to help them for their season next season.
I love how you tried to recover that, Chris. There's no recovering the insult that you just gave them. You just slapped them across the face.
Mind
I
you,
mean, I mean, they sucked last season. They can only get better from there, and they will get better because they just signed Travis Etienne.
Oh my
nice
god.
save
He
again.
he is going to be one of their stars in the making in New Orleans. Watch my words. He did great things in Jacksonville, and now he's going to do great things in New Orleans.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Cujo's next player is someone who is fairly unlikely to be on this list, but he wanted to pick him because he sees potential. Cujo, take it away.
Screw
First
you,
of all,
Carlos.
that was a stupid joke.
No, it was a good joke.
Screw
Accept the
you,
joke.
Carlos.
Yes, Isaiah Likely, the former tight end of the Baltimore Ravens, and is going to follow his former coach, Mr. John Harbaugh. This upgrade is something we highly needed because with Wando going to the Tennessee Giants, yes, and I said Tennessee Giants because a lot of the players that we had went over to Tennessee due to Brian Dayball. But I digress. Isaiah Likely is a good tight end. In my opinion, he was better than Mark Andrews over the previous years. He was a reliable target for Lamar, and he always comes up in big moments. So,
But
yeah,
Kristen did in fact say that
Yes, I did
Isaiah
say.
likely could
Yes.
block.
Yeah, I said he's an asset, but not only can he catch as a tight end, but he can also block defenders as a tight end to help the running game.
Anyway, Cujo, continue.
what I want to say to wrap this up, Isaiah Likely is a blocking tight end, and you could line him up on wide receiver or tight end. So a lot of defensive will struggle with guarding Malik or even Isaiah Likely because they're both threats.
The
So who
question, go on.
go?
I'm sorry. No, go on. Go on.
So and even whoever we draft in the draft could be a problem as well. I still vouch for Cardell Tate, but it's up for who coach wants on the team.
True. Do you want to go over the stats real fast?
Oh, and due to injury, Isaiah likely stats wasn't all that this year, but he averaged this year alone 27 receptions, one touchdown, average yards 11.4 this year. So he's a product. Don't get twisted. He's a productive tight end that I think will bring serious value to our team.
Very true. Now the question just becomes: will Isaiah likely be the future of the NFL? Time will only tell.
Well,
Yo,
But
I
with that
don't
horrible
know.
being
joke.
I don't know if I would say I don't know if I would say Isaiah Likely is likely to be the future of the NFL. But however, I would say Isaiah Likely is likely to be the future of the New York Giants going forward. I could see Isaiah Likely staying there for as long as John Harbaugh is there. I think John Harbaugh really has interest and invested a lot in Isaiah Likely, and it shows because why else would I they likely come over here? When Mark Andrews has had injuries in Baltimore, it was always Isaiah Likely that they went to. So he does have Harbaugh's trust. So why not go to the coach that you already have trust and a good rapport with?
I
And
couldn't
that being said, I think Isaiah Likely will also be likely to get a few touchdowns for the Giants this season. I'm
I,
sorry, Carlos, go ahead.
I couldn't agree with you more, Chris. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I think we should move on to player number 3 for Mr. Christopher Allen.
Okay, my third player is somebody who was on my team, on my team, and that is Mr. Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, Minkah Fitzpatrick has been somebody who's been around the league for a while, been around for about 6, 7 years. Was in Miami to
6, 7.
start his season, went to Pittsburgh, and then came back to Miami, and now he's getting traded to the New York Jets. So
Good.
Minkah Fitzpatrick is a DB, and he's a great DB. Well, I shouldn't say great. I should say good DB. And his stats are he has 82 total tackles, one interception, six Panthers defended, and one sack for 2025. For a player like him, those are great numbers. I mean, I'm kind of sad to see him go, but I'm also at the same time pissed off about the return we got back for him. All we did, all we
Uh,
rated was him for a 7th round pick. I know. I mean, all we got back was a 7th round pick back for him,
That's all.
where where he could have been worth more like a second or a third. I feel like we got freaking robbed by the New York Jets.
I mean, in all honesty, I feel like he got robbed because he got brought down
Well,
to the New York Jets.
well,
I
no.
agree.
I mean, he went to the Jets, but the Jets signed him to a 3-year extension, so he got paid as soon as he got there. So yeah, he might have downgraded on teams by going to the New York Jets organization, but at least he's getting paid to be in purgatory.
I get it.
Not even that, being paid to be in hell,
I guess so.
being paid to be in football hell.
The Jets are where careers go to die. So
Exactly. But at least his career is getting paid to die.
Oh my god. All right.
Because honestly, I don't think he would go there if he wasn't going to get paid. I feel like if he was just a free agent,
Hmm.
I feel like he wouldn't have signed there. But then they were traded from Miami, and the Jets were like, okay, we want you to stay. Name your number, and we'll give it to you. And then they gave him whatever he wanted just to keep him happy.
they held him
Mm.
hostage.
They held him hostage. Exactly.
I mean,
Poor, poor Minkah Fitzpatrick.
they must have held him hostage with a good amount of money.
I mean,
Honestly,
they didn't even hold him hostage. I mean, they did hold him hostage, but they only had him for like an hour or so before they gave him the No, they didn't even hold him for an hour. As soon as they made the trade, they gave him the extension. It's just like what we say in the NBA, what's known as a sign and trade, where
Hmm.
like the new contract is embedded in the trade. Like like you get signed to the team before you get traded.
Hmm.
That's basically how it works. Like in the NBA with a sign and trade, the manager says, okay, we want this player. I'm like, okay, let's do like a sign and trade. Okay, so as part of the trade, once he gets here, we'll sign him to X amount for however long. That's basically what happened with Minkah. He got signed and traded
Gotcha.
to the New York Jets. And I think the Jets and Jets fans will be very happy to have him.
I think we should let Mr. Isaiah Cujo talk about his third player.
My next player, Tremaine Edmunds. He's a, a linebacker that we desperately needed. He's a upgrade better than Bobby Okereke. Sorry to say, shout out to you, Bobby, if you ever do see this. But yeah, Tremaine Edmunds is a good addition. I believe that he's gonna solidify that defense a little bit with Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence. We do need a defensive tackle to pair up with Dexter, but Kim, Kayvon, Abdul, and Spider is gonna be a scary tandem.
Very well said, good sir. And with that, I think we should move on to Chris's fourth and final player of today.
So for my last important player that has been through this free agency is with the Rashan Gary, who was traded from the Green Bay Packers to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2027 fourth round pick. Now, to me, I'm thinking, why is it a 2027 fourth round pick? In my eyes, I'm surprised it wasn't a 26 pick at all. Because somebody of Rashan Gary's stature and playing ability and how great of a defensive player he is, I feel like the Packers should have gotten a higher pick in return. But also talking about that trade, um, it's kind of funny how that a little less than a year ago, the a kind of similar trade has happened in the NFL, where the Dallas Cowboys traded their best player, Micah Parsons, to the Green Bay Packers, and then before Micah Parsons got there, Rashan Gary was their best defensive player. So when Michael Parsons got to Green Bay, Michael Parsons became their best defensive player. Rashan Gary became their second best defensive player. And now, less than a year later, they trade Rashan Gary, their second best defensive player, to the same team that they now got their best defensive player from. I'm starting to think, why do that? Why is the reason? Like, if you were going to do this all along, why weren't they just traded for each other? This is what's blowing my mind. But just to show you how good Rashan Gary is, his stats are 45 tackles, 7.5 stats, 1 fumble, and 54 total pressures from the former Packers linebacker, now Dallas Cowboys linebacker of Rashan Gary. And now, Cujo, how do you feel about Mr. Rashan Gary entering your division as a New York Giants fan, having to happen to see him twice a year now?
I mean, Rashad Gary is scary because he's a great pass rusher. His ability to rush block, to not rush block, bull rush is scary in itself. And he's a player that has to be double teamed when he's on one every when he's having a good game. So us not having a good offensive line yet, if we don't solidify that, he's gonna torch us twice a year every game. So that shows how highly touted I think Rashad Gary is. And yeah, it's gonna be scary. But are we still gonna be the number one in the division? Who knows? I'm not gonna boast this year. I'm gonna keep it neutral. I'm gonna be respectful.
Yeah, I don't think either one makes it to number one. I don't think the Giants or Cowboys are number one this year.
You never know.
I think number one is still the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Giants still have to get a few more pieces. I don't think they're far off from number one, but I think the New York Giants still have to get a few more pieces before they can be number one.
I agree.
I think it's gonna take them another 2 or 3 years before they can get to that number one position in the NFC East. Not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying it's gonna take a little bit more time.
In my
But
opinion,
yeah, go ahead.
in my opinion, I think the Cowboys just want an excuse to say they got Scary Gary on their team now.
But I
Did
mean,
you say scary
I
Gary?
agree with you. I agree with you. But my thing also is to why also trade for him is my question. I thought you got rid of Micah so you could get draft picks and rebuild the team, and now I th- because I thought the Cowboys were going into like a rebuild, and now they trade for Rashan Gary, so now they're trading a future pick to go get him, where
I
he's
mean,
gonna be basically the best player on that defense with nobody else around him or no
wait,
other big names
no,
around
no.
him.
They just got the dude from the Jets last year at the trade deadline. I forgot
I
his
mean,
name.
they did get him. They did get him. I'm sorry. They did get him. They got who was it? Quentin Williams.
Yeah, Quinton Williams from the Jets. So to pair Quinton, which was an elite run stopper, to get Rashad
And
Gary and him together. Maybe that's
that's
okay. I'll go. I'll go. Maybe
yeah,
that's a good run stopping, and maybe that solidified the defense. But after they let go of Trayvon, their defense still has a lot of holes.
yeah. But but my concern is with the Cowboys is that it's after the league year now. The league year, we are now in the new league year. So that Rashawn Gary signing is final now, I believe. And now the Cowboys are still saying they're interested in trading for Maxx Crosby, which, folks, if you haven't heard, Maxx Crosby was traded to the Baltimore Ravens for two first round picks of 26 and 27. And then, about like a night or two ago, the Ravens pulled out of the deal because he happened to fail their physical. So
Cause they're
now,
bitching.
so, so now Maxx Crosby goes back to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders now have to take back $30 million because they have Maxx Crosby after they've already made free agency additions. So
Hmm.
they already thought that Maxx Crosby was going to be gone. So they made moves to to help them because they thought Maxx Crosby was gone. But they were getting ready to replace him, and now he comes back when they don't expect it, and now they lost 30 mil because of it because they have to take back his contract. I mean, that's crazy for the Raiders. But now the Cowboys are still willing to trade for him. They already traded for Rashan Gary. That trade became final because of the league year is now here. So now I don't know what the Cowboys are doing because they're rebuilding. They've just signed Rashan Gary. I mean, not resigned. They traded for Rashan Gary, and now they're interested in Maxx Crosby. But the thing is, they got Rashan Gary because they thought they were out of the Maxx Crosby contention because Maxx Crosby was supposedly going to Baltimore, but that got reversed. So what the hell are the Cowboys gonna do now? Is my question.
Only
I don't know,
time
but
will tell.
my next pick, Mr. DJ, former New York Giant Daniel Jones. To be honest, this contract that he got was well deserved. I don't know if it's a much of an overpay, but we could talk about that. But DJ kind of went to Indianapolis with a fresh start, a brand new, a brand new identity basically, and he actually showed in a good scheme that could actually know how to use him. He could flourish in a good situation. with a good running back with like Jonathan Taylor and pieces around him. So I'm proud to say, Daniel Jones, you well deserve this contract, and it's 88 million for 2 years with a chance to be 100 million with incentives if he does good this year. So it's a big upgrade. A lot is riding on this year for DJ.
Exactly. But my thing is, I think it's a little bit of an overpay. I don't think 88 for him is an overpay per se, but it's 100 million with incentives. I think that's the overpay because I don't think he's worth 100 million. So if you're gonna give him incentives, make it like 50 million and then 88 million with incentives.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's what I think would be fair.
I,
I mean, I don't think he's totally worth 100.
no, I agree, but the way he balled out last year, and he almost gave them a chance to make it to the playoffs, but he got injured. He got injured in the last coming weeks before the season was over for the playoffs. So they have potential.
Well,
Yep.
gentlemen, very good articulated thoughts today. But with that being said, I have been Carlos Hernandez. That is Isaiah Cujo, and that all the way to the left is Christopher Allen. We have been your bro council for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and we will see you next week.